And there you can see the enormity of what appears to be a secondary explosion. Whether that was, it could well be the first explosion, because it may.
A massive explosion rocked the Lebanese capital of Beirut on Tuesday evening, leaving at least 135 dead and thousands injured. The blast has been linked to a large supply of confiscated and potentially unsecured explosive material stored in a warehouse at the city's port close to populated areas. As world leaders and international organizations step in to offer assistance, local officials are also launching an investigation into the blast. Authorities scrambled on Wednesday to treat the wounded, search for survivors, and assess the full extent of the damage. Here's what we know so far. The explosion took place at 6:07 p.m. local time Tuesday near Beirut's port and central district, close to many highly populated areas and tourist sites. Nearby landmarks include the historic Martyrs Square, the Gemezi and Marmikhal neighborhoods, fixtures of the Beirut bus scene, the landmark Mohammed Al Amin Mosque, Grand Serail, the government palace, and Babda Palace, the official residence of the Lebanese president. The explosion tore through the city, flipping cars, shattering glass, and causing some homes to crumble. Damaged buildings include the headquarters of former Prime Minister Saad Hariri and CNN's bureau in downtown Beirut. Homes as far as 10 kilometers away were damaged, according to witnesses. Beirut's governor Marwan Aboud told reporters that the explosion had resulted in an estimated $3 to $5 billion worth of damage. NNA, Lebanon state-run media, reported that 90% of hotels in the Lebanese capital had been damaged. The blast was even felt in Cyprus, around 240 kilometers away, and registered as a 3.3 magnitude earthquake. A crater created by the explosion appeared to be roughly 124 meters in diameter, or well over a football field in length, according to CNN analysis of a Planet Labs and Corporation satellite image. At least 135 people were killed in the blast and another 5,000 wounded, officials said, and the death toll was expected to rise. Beirut's governor, Marwan Aboud, told Jordan's state-owned channel Al Mamlaka that at least 300,000 people were unable to sleep in their homes, adding that half of Beirut's population have homes that are unlivable for the foreseeable future, for the next 2 weeks. Among the dead are the Secretary General of the Kataib political party, Nazar Najarian, according to NNA. He was in his office when the explosion happened, and died after being critically injured. At least 10 firefighters working for Beirut's municipality are missing, said Aboud. 2 Filipino citizens also died from the explosion, and 8 others are injured, said a statement from the Philippine embassy in Beirut. 11 other Filipino seafarers are still missing. At least 1 Australian and 1 American were killed, according to officials from those countries. The Australian embassy building has been significantly compromised, said Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. 21 French citizens, several Americans, 1 Japanese citizen, 1 Indonesian, and 6 Turkish citizens were also injured, according to authorities from the 5 countries. All U.S. Chief of Mission personnel in Beirut are safe and accounted for, and U.S. Embassy Beirut is open, the U.S. State Department spokesperson said Wednesday. Some naval peacekeepers with the United Nations and Terram Force in Lebanon have also been injured, some seriously. They have been transported to hospital for treatment, said UNIFIL. There have been conflicting reports of what caused the blast. Initially, the explosion was blamed on a major fire at a warehouse for firecrackers near the port. But on Wednesday morning, Prime Minister Hassan Diab said that about 2,750 metric tons of ammonium nitrate, a highly explosive material, had been stored at the port for the past 6 years, without preventive measures. Court documents obtained show that the ammonium nitrate came to Beirut on a Russian-owned ship in 2013, which had originally been headed to Mozambique. It stopped in Beirut due to financial difficulties and unrest among the crew, and never left again. The crew abandoned the ship, which was detained by authorities, and the ammonium nitrate on board was stored in a hangar at the port, just a few minutes' walk from shopping and nightlife districts. The documents showed that Badri Dar, the director of Lebanese customs, warned for years of the extreme danger of leaving the ammonium nitrate at the port. Dar told that customs officials had written to legal authorities 6 times requesting for the dangerous cargo be removed from the port, but the requests went unheeded. Diab announced an investigation into the explosion, saying the probe would include revelations that will be announced about this dangerous warehouse, which has been present since 2014. I will not rest until we find those responsible for what happened, hold them accountable, and impose maximum punishment, he said in a statement, saying it was unacceptable that so much ammonium nitrate had been stored while endangering the safety of citizens. However, experts have cautioned that the blast could have been caused by more than just ammonium nitrate. Anthony May, a retired ATF explosives investigator for the US government, said the color of the cloud after the blast suggests there may have been other compounds involved. And Robert Baer, a former CIA operative with extensive experience in the Middle East, said that orange ball of fire indicated possible military-grade explosives. US President Donald Trump added to the confusion when he referred to the incident as an attack, though US Defense Department officials told afterward there was no indication that was the case. Lebanese officials also raised concerns with US diplomats about the use of the phrase attack too, State Department officials said. In the hours following the bombing, authorities and humanitarian organizations launched search and rescue efforts. The Lebanese president has directed all armed forces to respond to the disaster and to patrol affected areas for additional security. Lebanon has allocated 100 billion Lebanese pounds, which, according to the government rate, is about $66,335,000, to deal with the effects of the blast, the Lebanese presidency Twitter account said Wednesday. Aid groups like UNICEF and the Red Cross mobilized teams on the ground and put out urgent open calls for blood donations. Hospitals were quickly inundated, with doctors conducting triage as dozens flooded into emergency rooms. The emergency section of one major hospital, the American University of Beirut Medical Center, became unable to receive more patients. 4 hospitals were out of service after sustaining damage in the explosion, said the health minister. The Lebanese Red Cross said on Wednesday that multiple temporary shelters with food, hygiene kits and basic needs have been set up to receive 1,000 families. The United Nations and World Health Organization are also working with Lebanese authorities. President Trump, Australian Prime Minister Morrison and Russian President Vladimir Putin all offered support and assistance. Russia has sent 5 planes carrying medical equipment and a team of doctors to set up a field hospital in Beirut, according to state news agency TASS. French President Emmanuel Macron said rescue and aid were on the way to Lebanon, and Israel has formally extended humanitarian medical assistance. The United Kingdom said it would send medical and search and rescue experts to help, along with £5 million, about $6.6 million, in aid to Lebanon. Egypt has also set up a field hospital that has received a number of patients in Beirut, said a spokesman for Egypt's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Middle Eastern neighbors including Qatar, Kuwait, the UAE and Iraq will also send field hospitals, medical supplies and oil to Lebanon, state-run NNA said. Meanwhile, Lebanese authorities have taken the first steps in their investigation into the incident. An unknown number of officials have been placed under house arrest, the Lebanese Minister of Displaced People Ghada Shraim said Wednesday. These include officials involved in the storage, guarding, and investigation of the hangar from 2014 until today, Shraim said.